Hey guys, I'm Kiara, and today we're going to do a little crash course on learning MMD. I've gotten back into MMD recently, and I've been doing a couple videos, and I've had a lot of people express some interest in learning how to do it, or wanting to know the basics, or just being interested in general about it. So hopefully this tutorial will help get you started, and it'll take away the intimidatingness, intimid and intimidate and you'll be less intimidated by the program. That's what I'm trying to say. So for this tutorial, I'm gonna skip the actual downloading MMD thing. It's really straightforward and simple. You literally just I'll put the link in the description. You download it. It's like a zipped file. You unzip it, and the application's in there. You double click and it boots up. So it's just a matter of finding somewhere on your computer that you want to put it. And I suggest being pretty organized, because if you're going to use MMD, it's all about downloading parts. And you'll download, a model from here, a model from there, parts from here, stages from here, motions from here. It's like downloading lots and lots of little assets, and it will be a lot easier for you if you just keep everything nice and organized. So I suggest making a folder just for MMD and putting it in there. And it comes with a couple folders. It tries to set you up. I'll just show you real quick. It'll come with a thing that'll say user file, and if you click on that, but it will come with model, motion, pose, stages, and wave. I don't really know why there's a folder for waves, because that you usually get your wave files, which is the music files. It usually comes with your motions, but these are pretty much the four main ones that you'll use. So I mean, the MMD is trying to give you the foundation for being organized. This is your MMD interface. This main screen right here is pretty much your workspace. It's how you just see what you're working on. Pretty self-explanatory. This over here on the side is the timeline right here. This will show every kind of part that you have in the scene right now, because every part will have its own timeline. That's how you animate everything. We don't really have anything right now, but yeah, this is the timeline. This is where each of these little diamonds will pop up and represent a keyframe. And this long line right here, this will display your wave file. If you import audio or import music, then you'll see the little sound thingies. I don't know what that's called. The little sound thingies that go up and down to show you how the music looks. That will be up here. Clicking this goes obviously to frame 0. This button will take you to the last registered frame of this. You can just click arrows. That's a little tedious. I just hit the arrow keys on my keyboard and it does the exact same thing. It's just goes to the next keyframe instead of the next actual frame. I literally just use the arrow keys, or I just fucking click. So that's what that is. That's the little timeline. Interpolation curve. You won't really need that unless you're animating. And that's just that's more intermediate. This red box here is called model manipulation. And this one is one that you'll be using a lot. This drop-down list, it only says camera light accessory right now, but that's because you don't have anything loaded in. When you load in stages and models and any objects or anything like that, you'll load in a fucking couch. That'll be down here. This right here, camera. The rest of these, except for this last one, but these right here only show up for the camera. Once you load in a model, these will change to settings for the models. But for right now, for the camera, this is the camera movement where you can actually rotate, zoom in, zoom out. You can go down here and click and drag these to do some crazy wonky things. Whoa, crazy. easy. But yeah, that's how you do that to the camera. And then, like, if you want to save it or be like, okay, well, this is how I want frame 0 to be, then you would come down here and click register. And it would register this orientation of the camera on frame 0. And then you come to like frame 5, and then maybe, I don't know, make it normal. And then you just click register again. And then if you use the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can see that it animated that little camera motion right there. So yeah, so it'll show you. So see, these are your 2 keyframes where the 2 that you registered. And then MMD automatically animates the frames in between. So it automatically tweens everything for you. If you know anything about 2D animation, that's pretty much the same concept as tweening. Oh, and if you want to reset anything that you've done with the camera, and let's say you want to clear all that out, well, you can come up here to edit and click select all camera frame. Click that, and you have to have this selected in the model manipulation tab. And then you click the select all camera frame, and then you come down here and you click delete, and it just resets it. So that's reset. So that's what this one does. Now this green is light manipulation, and I don't know if it'll show. No, it won't show because there's nothing loaded. But RGB, red, green, and blue. I'll show it again when I load something up. And then X, Y, and Z is just, I will skip all that for now because that's hard to explain with nothing here. Self shadow manipulation. Honestly, I don't use this. I don't know what that is. Let's click that and pretend like it's not there. No, I'm just kidding. I'll leave it up there. And then this like yellowish is called accessory manipulation. And this is where you will load effects such as like a cheap lens, like snow or rain. Let's see if something will show up. Let's see. Let's see if rain will show up. Aha, it does. Okay. So see, like I just loaded up rain. There we go. Now it's raining. But there's all kinds of different stuff. So it could be like that. It could be like glowing lights. Like if you want to make your character's eyes glow or set them on fire or something like that, you do that down here. And you can click this to display it on and off. And you can do that to either just hide it from view to make it easier to see other stuff in the scene, or you can actually have it set to turn on and off like during an animation. So like, if you wanted just to start raining out of nowhere, you can have it hidden and then be like, okay, well on frame 20 I want it to start raining. Then you can do that. You could do that through the magic of MMD. But always, whenever you change anything, click that register button. Because if you don't click register, the moment you change to another frame or you change to another model or something, whatever you just did is not going to apply. So you gotta click register. With these settings over here, like X, Y, and Z, and RX, RY, and RZ, I honestly can't tell you what those really do. I never really use those. The only settings I've ever really used with the accessory manipulation tab is down here, the SI, which stands for like size, and TR, which I think is like transparency. So I don't know what the rain will do, but let's see if the rain can change size. Usually if you increase this and then click enter. Okay, so it made it kind of like more spaced out. Okay. So like let's say like 5 and click enter. Okay, so see, like, do you see what it's doing? It's like kind of spreading it out a little bit more. So yeah, I guess you can do that like if you're wanting like a lighter rain, and then then you could animate it to like slowly get more dense and like, turn to that. So that's the difference between 1 and 5. So that's what that does. And then transparency, it's between 0 and 1. You can't go any higher than 1. If you do, it'll just set it back to 1. So like if you click like 0.5, then it kind of makes it like a little bit lighter. So if you just want a little hint of rain, you can do something like that, and then it's just kind of like barely a drizzle. Actually, I don't know if you'd even be able to see that, but like, there we go. So see, the more that goes up, the more you can really see it. So that pretty much just affects the opacity, pretty much, is what that is. So that's full opacity. So there are sometimes where like effects at full opacity are just a little too much, and you'll have to reduce that a little bit. But yeah, so this drop-down menu will show you all the ones that you have loaded, and then you can load another one, or you can delete this one. Are you okay? I love how it asks me that. No, I'm not. Okay. No, yeah, okay. So you click that, and it'll delete it for you. So that's what that is. And again, all of those are things that you can download on DeviantArt. You can even like look up on YouTube. There's like a lot of like montages of like popular effects and accessories, and you can look those up. Now let's load a model. All right, let's click, and it'll give you some information. Model makers will kind of like put their own information. It might be like terms of service or whatever. So like right here, you know, it says, you know, please credit Domi, edit if you want, don't redistribute, just link. You know, it'll give you the little terms of service. Or it'll just be blank, or it could be like a whole paragraph. It's whatever. But here we go. Now we have this blue box called bone manipulation. And it says like, you know, select, rotate, move, whatever. This is how you're just actually going to move your model. So if you click select, it'll pull up all of her bones. And that's what these are. They'll be like little circles. And then they'll have little, I don't know. They're fucking bones, okay? I don't know how to describe it. They're little cones coming out. And it literally just kind of correlates to, I don't know, how do you explain bones? They're fucking bones. Let's hit her shoulder. So here's like her shoulder bone, or null 48, as the professionals say. So there's two ways you can like move her arm now that you got her in here. You can come down here and click rotate. This little thing pops up, and this green circle means you rotate it that way. The blue means that, you know, you move it that way. The red means, you move it that way. Like, it's just different ways to move it, and then, you know, you can do that stuff. Or you can just select it normally, like from here, and just click select and click it, and then you come down here. Hopefully I'm not in the way. Maybe I can like move over or something. I don't know. But they'll be down here. It'll be X, Y, and Z. And you can actually just click and drag these up and down to like twist them different ways. So like you can twist that one. You can click Y, you know, to move it forward and back. Or you can do Z, make your arm go up and down. So obviously, you know, when you're going to do a pose, it's going to be a little bit of a combination. So, you know, I might have her arm out, like that, I don't know, something like that. And if you want to save that position, very important, because if you don't, her arm will just snap right back to where it was before. You go back down to the bone manipulation, and you come down here and you click register. Like, you're gonna be registering a lot, okay? Like, if you're gonna be animating or doing anything yourself, animating motions, camera, or just posing, you're gonna be registering. So be sure to smack that register button, okay? Like, every single time. Do not forget. You will cry. It will be a nightmare. Just trust me. So you can twist it that way and make her go hi, hello, hi, or, you know, just make her Make her hand move, okay? Congratulations, you learned how to make her hand move. Finally, your parents can be proud of you. Now, just like a little side note, little pro tip. Let's see you move her arm like in the perfect position. Like you move it like that and you're just like, oh goddamn, that is the perfect position for that arm. But now I want this arm to look like that. And I don't think I could ever come close to getting that perfection again. Well, no worries, my friend, because with this bone still selected, with that perfection, you can come down here and you can click copy. Now you can come over here and click reverse. And you click that, and boom, it automatically mirrors it onto this arm. But you have to remember to register that one too. And boom, look at that. Now you got 2 perfect arms for the price of 1. Jokes aside, that can be really helpful when posing, especially with like fingers. Because let's say you're doing some crazy shit with the fingers. You know, you want to have her pointing up like that, and you're just like, good goddamn, I'm gonna have to do all these fucking finger bones on each hand. But no, you don't, because you do that and you hit copy, reverse, register. And I don't think I registered that one, so I can click on that one and click register. And then there you go. Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Perfect symmetry. In this house, we love symmetry. Okay. That's pretty much the basics in posing. So you do that, but like with the whole body, and you make it look nice. Or if you're not good at posing, don't worry, because you can download poses. You can go on DeviantArt and you can come down here, click File, click Load Pose Data, click that, and remember the pose folder that I showed you? Yeah, that's where you put all these poses. And let's click one of these. Just go number 1. And boom, there you go. Now, of course, it's not going to work for every model because the clothes are going to be different. Models might have different proportions. So you might have to, adjust. But the hard work is done for you. And you know what? If you don't like that one, you can be like, oh, no, that pose is not for me. You can just load another one. Look at that. And boom. Now she's like falling. So now you can take like screenshots, load in a background or something, do whatever you want. Boom, there you go. You have a pose. Now if you'll notice, some of these points are squares and some are circles. If they're circles, that means these bones can be rotated, but they can't be moved. But the squares, if you click on it, you can actually click to move it. And that's because these, so you can actually move her body, and the parts just kind of get dragged along. So you can use it to jump. So like if you want to make her jump, you don't actually have to animate all the legs going down because it'll kind of automatically push the legs down. So if you wanted to animate her like jumping in the air, you could just come down here and register, and then come up here and register that, and she would be doing this motion. And it's kind of like a shortcut because you don't have to actually animate all the legs. Yes, all of her legs. All the bones in her legs. I mean, just all of her legs. There's also squares on the feet. I think these are just like the tips of the feet to show like where you want the feet to point. One of these squares just moves the whole ass leg. Let's see if it's like this one. There you go. So if you want her to do a little side kick, it's really easy for placement. So you can either just click and freely drag it, or you can click one of these arrows and it'll only move up and down. So you can be a little bit more precise. Like if you, so you can do, so she can do a little cha-cha. There's like some up here. I don't really know what those do. Let's try it. Let's go on this journey together. Oh, okay. Let's just put those back inside of her head. Anyway, yeah, so that is the basics of animation. And it's just a matter of doing that a lot and moving every single one of those bones. Now, I'm going to click. I want to reset her completely to just a T-pose with no registered bone movements. So I'm going to click Edit, select all bone frame. I'm going to click Delete. And that just resets her to the default T-pose. Now, let's say you are like, I don't know, most people that use MMD, and you don't want to make your own animation completely from scratch. You're like, no, that is too much work. I want to have fun. Well, I got you. You go up to File and click Load Motion Data. Now, it doesn't come with motion data. You have to go out and download it yourself. But it's literally like, all the little diamonds that you just, were making. Someone else did all that work and animated all those little diamonds and made that animation. And they saved it as a file called motion data. And now you can download that animation onto whatever model you want. And basically, they did all the work for you. There we go. Let's pull up this motion. It'll pop up, say, are you okay? And it might take a couple seconds. It also depends on how long it is. And look at that. Aren't you glad you didn't have to do that yourself? So now you can come down here and click play and see how it looks. And look at that. Beautiful. Now she's dancing and you didn't have to sit and move all of that yourself. But, it's good to at least know, like, how it's done, just in case you want to experiment with it. You can always have fun. I didn't really show you the facial manipulation. So let's look at that real quick. Okay. So this is not her default face. If you notice, she's, like, smiling. She's got her mouth open. Well, here, obviously there's 4 categories. This is eyes, mouth, brow, and others. And these are all like the different facial expressions that you can change. Now, these will all depend on your model. Some models will have a lot, some won't have any. Some might just have very basic, but like happy, and then there'll be a slider. So just like moving arms and legs and bones and stuff, you would move whatever you want and click register. And it would just register it, and it animates it just like everything else. You can make them wink. You can make them do the XD. Oh, you can add little stars in her eyes. TDA models are usually really, really nice. They have hearts that can pop up. Different mouths. A lot of these didn't translate well, so a lot of them will just be like random symbols. So it's a little hard, but sometimes you just kind of got to click and look to see what it is. So yeah, so that's how you change all the facial expressions. Some motions will have really good facial expressions to go along with it, and they'll be lip synced and everything. Sometimes they won't, but that's just how you do that. I wanted to show that real quick. So yeah, so now we have our motion, and we can go and show all these frames. So it goes to like frame 1281. And now you can hit the arrow keys and literally go and see each individual frame if you want. And you can see, like, how the how the stroke takes. You can see how the facial expression changes. You can see, it's kind of like watching it in slow motion, which is like really cool. So that can be helpful for learning how to animate it yourself. So we've got the motion, but there's obviously no music, and that's really awkward. So you can come up here and click File, Load Wave File. This is the only kind of audio that MMD will open. So if you ever download a motion, it'll automatically, or they should automatically come with wave files. There's been some times where I download a motion and like it doesn't have the wave file with it, and I'm like, okay. But usually it'll come up with it. And so here's the one, and it'll usually be in the folder with the motion data. So I'll click Open. And now there you go. See the little sound things. You can even set it to play wave with frame. That means it will play your music every time you use like your arrow keys to click to different frames. So it'll sound like this. And that can be helpful for like playing it in slow motion or finding, you know, like key moments in the song or like when the beat drops, and to know where to place your keyframes. Or like when, you know, like the words start or whatever. But then you can click play it and it'll play it in real time. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get hit with that copyright. So now you've got the music and now you got the motion. But, you know, you're still just dancing on a grid. Well, you can now click load down here in the model manipulation and go back to your user file and go to stages, and you won't have any of these. You have to download these yourself as well. It's like the one thing that's kind of a pain in the butt about MMD is you have to download all the individual parts on your own. And again, you can find these on DeviantArt and YouTube. And they can be big or small. They can be all kinds of stuff. Like, people come up with some crazy stuff. Let's see here. Let's load in a Pokemon Center. Here you go. So now you can sit here and Fortnite dance in a Pokemon Center. And if you notice, the grid is still there. So you can come to View and click Display Coordinate Access. You uncheck that, and the grid will go away. And for good measure, I also recommend unchecking Display Ground Shadow. And now, you know, that's how it looks. So there's your little animation. So it's looking good so far. So now, if you notice, you'll have three things. You got the camera, you got your model, and then this null 01 is the stage itself. A lot of times they don't actually have names, or it's like just a bunch of symbols because it was like translated from Japanese. So now that I've got like a stage and the model set up, I can show you a little bit more about the light manipulation. So you know, I guess you can't really see much of a difference if I add red. You can definitely tell when I take it away. So you can kind of do that to kind of change if you want to add like crazy colors or something like that. There's really not that much. Okay, here we go. Here's all the shadows. Okay, so I found where the lighting was. So see, you can zoom out and see your whole stage going on there. But yeah, so you can see the lightings over here. So you can go and change these sliders to change the direction of the lighting. You know, go back and forth. Pretty much figure out how you want it. See, that'll move it from side to side. So you can do all kinds of stuff like that. And then, you know, obviously change the colors. If all of these are like the same levels, that's just white light. So unless you like are wanting some crazy color, I would just suggest having them all kind of the same. But I mean, you can also play it with them. I mean, fuck dude, do what you want. YOLO. And always register. Click register. Because you can change all the shadows and stuff, but if you do not register, the moment you click play, it's just going to go back to default. So register that shit. So now, you know, you got the shadows. But now you need camera data, and I don't think this motion actually came with camera data. So you would have to make your own, or just when you click play, it's just from the front. Like let's say, you know, okay, you want to start it here. Come down here to the camera, click register. I'm not going to make a whole motion, so I'm just showing you. I mean, you get the point. So now I can have it like over here and click register. And now it'll kind of look like this. And wherever it stops is like where it's going to sit for the rest of the motion. So you kind of have to keep adding to it to keep it going. But that's pretty much how you make a camera data. Real quick, let me delete all of the motion And again, I just went to my model, went up here to edit, and I clicked select all bone frame. I'm going to come up here and click delete. And that's going to put her back at a T-pose. I did do those couple registered things for the camera. So I'm going to go back to the camera and select all camera frame, delete, because I want to get rid of that. And let's load a motion that actually has camera data. That way you can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on. So I'm going to click motion. And a lot of times, whoever made the motion will call it one of them motion and then one of them camera. They usually make it pretty obvious what's what. I'm going to load camera because I'm actually selected on the camera in the model manipulation. I didn't notice that. So when you load motion data, if you're on camera, then you load the camera motion. So I'm going to open the camera motion, and there we go. You can see that the camera is now different. Now I'm going to click on Gumi, and now I will load motion data, and I will load motion. Click OK, and boom. So now you click back to camera, and if you click play, you can actually see what's going on here. I have the music muted so that I don't get copyright. But yeah, so now we've got the motion, we've got the camera, and there you go. So I mean, that's pretty much the basics of making a video. So you load the motion, you load the camera, you load the stage, model, not in that order. I don't know why I said it in the completely backwards order, but there we go. You can always add some crazy effects. So, you know, you can make it rain again, or you can get shaders to like make the lighting a little bit better. Cheap lens, I like to use this one a lot. You can open that up and see it kind of makes like the edges a little darker and blurry, like in the corners. There's like dust effects if you want to add dust in the air. There's 4 different ones. You can add all of them for like a lot of dust, or just, you know, 1 or 2. I can't even see the dust there. Okay, I can barely see it. I see a little bit. Okay. So it is there. I guess it's just really bright or something. Then you just kind of add effects, make it look as nice as you want. Oh, another thing with the gravity. Gravity is fun. And now I can show you the gravity settings. Acceleration is like how fast things will react to gravity. So if you want it to be really floaty and flowy like you're underwater, you would do like 1 or something. And then this is showing you the direction in which gravity is pulling. So obviously with y at -1, that means gravity is pulling down. And this is how fast things will be pulled down, in the simplest terms that I can explain. Like, let me just show you what it would look like with like a 1, because she does have that ribbon there. And of course, click register, and then close. And then if you were to play it, when she starts moving is really when you'll see. See, now it's kind of a little bit more floaty, and then see the hair kind of just floats a little bit more. See, it floats up a little bit. It's not really as gravitational. Oh, her rib is just going everywhere. And yeah, so I mean, you can also get some effects like that. Like if you want wind, you can go to gravity, and instead of having gravity pulled down, you can have it pulled to the side. So now you can see her ribbons are moving to the side. We can have them moving that way. Oh, okay, I guess. But yeah, you can have them floating up, floating back, floating forward. You can do all kinds of floating up even. Click register and close. And now everything's floating up, and then her hair and parts will also do like that. So it just gives you a really fun effect, like if you want like wind or like heavy rain in your scene or anything like that. And then also you can since it did have that register button, it doesn't have to be the same for the whole video. So you could effectively do like a gust of wind at one point in your video where like it's normal gravity, and then suddenly for like a dramatic part you have wind come in and like blow her ribbons around or blow her hair around and then go back to normal. So that's just a couple little extra things that you can do just to add a little bit more like physics or whatever. I don't know what noise is. TBH. Don't know what that is. But these are usually all at 0 and then Y at -1. That's just the typical gravity setting. So I can register and close. I mean, that's pretty much the basic gist of it. So you load your model, then you load your motion and your camera data, and then you can add a stage, and then you can add extra effects to make it look a little bit fancier. Now, if you come to File and click Save, that saves it as like an MMD project. And when you do that, it'll save all of your settings, it'll save all of these sliders, it'll save all the camera lighting and accessory stuff, basically everything in this project. It saves it as a whole project, and you can open it back up at any time and it'll have all this stuff. And you can resume creating. But it won't be like a video file, so you won't be able to like watch it as a video, but you can click play at any time and watch it and see if it's what you like, whatever. Now, if you download MME or MM Effect, it's basically like a plugin or like DLC, and this adds extra rendering effects and it makes it look a lot more polished, like effect mapping, and then you can add shaders and all kinds of stuff to make it look even nicer. So like I can click set effect, and I won't get into anything too crazy in this one because this is just the basics to help you get started. But MMD, MME, so you have a folder just for MME stuff. This is all my MME stuff. And like a manga shader. Let's try this. There's all kinds of like crazy stuff. Let's see if it'll apply this. There we go. And I click apply and okay, and look at that. Now she's straight out of a comic book. And you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I haven't even really effectively explored all of these things, but you can also add that to the background. And apply, click OK, and I mean, that's kind of hard to see, but you can like literally make it look like she's like in a comic book or something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see now, so maybe the background was a little much. So you know what? I can go back to effect mapping, click on this Pokemon Center, and click remove effect, and it will be normal effect. Click apply, okay, and there we go. And you can do the same thing with her. If you load that in and you're just like, oh, that looks cool, but not what I'm looking for or not what I want. But I thought that really looks cool, and I wish I knew how to use it in a good way because it looks really cool, but I've never actually used it. But let's see, you can set effect, and I've got some more shaders. There's adult shader, and then you'll see, there we go. See, it looks a little bit different. And now like the shading and the lighting looks really different. And then now you can apply and see how you like that. And again, you can set shaders to the background as well. And it just kind of changes the overall look of it. See, look, now it's like much more saturated and darkened a little bit. And now you can play it and it looks a little different. But yeah, even just like a shader kind of changes the way that it looks. And you can download all different types of shaders. You know, if you don't like that one, you can remove it. I can load that one in and we'll see how that looks. Boom, look at that. That's a different look, you know, just kind of do that. It just kind of changes the way that light and shadows do the things. I mean, for MME effects, you can download stuff like fog, clouds, you know, you saw the dust particles, so like you can just load more dust. So like I loaded dust, now I can load dust 2, and it'll be a whole nother layer of dust. And then I can load dust 3, because this is a dusty ass Pokemon Center. That's like the basic workflow of making an MMD video or animation. I mean, I didn't get into like all the crazy effects to make it look really, really cinematic and smooth. That is a little bit more advanced, and I would highly suggest just learning the basics first before trying to do all that. Now, let's say it looks nice and polished and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm ready for this just to be a video. Well, then you can go to File, Render to AVI File. You can click that. Oh, hold on. First of all, before you do that, click this to go to the very last frame of your animation, which is apparently 1930. Or you could end it there, or you could end it wherever you want. But basically, you have to know the frame number of where you want to end your video. So I'll do render to AVI file. You have to choose a location and you name it, save as file type. AVI is the only format it will do, and you'll click save. And this will pop up. As I said before, you are not able to change this when you're rendering. You have to change the screen size like in the project. You can't change it later. Frame rate, you can change this if you want. The default is 30 and MMD itself goes at 30. But if you want it super, super smooth, you can actually change it to 60, and then it will just split each frame in half pretty much, and it'll just make it look a lot smoother. But for default, it's 30. Now recording, right here is where you had to know the frame number. So if you're wanting to record the full thing from 0 to 1930, you literally type in 0 to 1930, and then it will know to record to that. Now, if you only wanted like a certain part or something, of course, you could, you know, go from 10 to 1820. I mean, I don't fucking know. And then it would only render from that frame to that frame. So you can do whatever you want, but you have to type something in. So that's why you should always go to the last frame and then just leave it right there. That way you can just see it right there. Type in 1930. You can output the wave. That means like if you want the music on your rendered video. Now, I usually uncheck this because I usually don't have the music rendered with the video, because I will upload the video into like Sony Vegas and then I just put the audio in there as well. I don't know if that's a more efficient way of doing it or a worse efficient way. But usually these AVI files are pretty big, and so I just leave that unchecked to save a little bit of space. Because, I mean, I edit it to put in like intro, outro, or like, you know, additional effects. I like to put in like the cinematic black bars at the top and bottom. So either way, I'm already editing it, so I just figured I'll put the audio on myself. So I usually uncheck that, but you can check that and click render and it will have the music and everything. I don't know what this is for because it's grayed out. You can't even click it, so we'll ignore that. For the video compressor, If you want to do AVI RAW, be prepared to have like a 30 gigabyte video. Like, I'm not even kidding. I did it was like a 2-minute animation, and the video was like 30 gigs. So, unless you really want that raw giant quality, I would suggest using the MJPEG compressor. I don't notice that much of a quality difference. If anything, I think the colors seem just a little bit saturated, but just like by a smidge. They seem like a smidge more saturated, but I mean, that might also be me. Like, I might just be really dumb. But that's like the only difference that I think I've noticed. Otherwise, I really haven't noticed anything. But it also, instead of a 30 gig video, it makes a 3 gig video. So, I mean, it saves space, and it also goes a lot faster. And once you click OK, I'm not going to click OK because I'm not going to save this. But once you click it, another window is going to come up, and it's going to play this animation full-sized, and it's just going to go frame by frame, and it will say recording, and it'll say 0 out of 1930 frames. And then, this number will be going up, of course, as it's recording each frame. And it'll just go until it hits the last frame. When it finishes, it will just auto close. So that window will just close on its own, and then you'll just be left with the MMD program just chilling like this. And then you'll have the video file, and then you can edit it however you want, but you'll have it. And that's pretty much the end of it. The main thing is just literally downloading all the different parts and pieces, and MMD is all about piecing all of these parts together. So it's really up to you to look around for models, look around for stages, look around for the motion files and the camera files, and find the effects that you want, all that kind of stuff. And like I said a couple times earlier, DeviantArt is probably like the best place to find it because like everyone uploads that stuff to DeviantArt. YouTube is also really good. If you just type in MMD motion DL for download, or model DL, or MMD effects, or I don't know where to download. Like, there's a lot of videos that just will like showcase like 40 models, and it'll be like my favorite 40 models, or like my favorite 10 stages, or 40 MMD effects that you need to get, stuff like that. And then the description will usually have a lot of links. So it's a lot of downloading, which is why I stress that you try to stay organized with your files, because it's just going to be a lot of downloading. That's probably the most tedious part about MMD. But the good thing about it is that you pretty much just load all these parts into MMD, and it kind of, it makes the really high quality video for you. um, so yeah, it does a lot of the work for you. It's not like Blender where you have to do a little bit more customization and stuff yourself. It calculates a lot of stuff on its own. But yeah, it's a lot of fun just to play around with, and especially if you make your own models or import Vroids in there. You don't even have to. You can just use the models that other people make and just, I don't know, make them dance. But they don't even have to dance. You can animate them to do anything. You can animate them to walk around, mimic, iconic vines or TikToks or memes. You can just have them do whatever. And I don't know, the possibilities are endless. And hopefully you are less intimidated to try it out. I just wanted to make one tutorial video that kind of covered like the basics, like how you can just upload and make your first MMD video. Hopefully I succeeded and helped at least one person because it's a lot of fun, and I think more people should use it. And it doesn't seem like there's really a lot of people using it right now, and especially with like VTubers and stuff on the rise, I feel like there should be more people that are doing MMD kind of things. But yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time with whatever I decide to do.